Meet Jody, wife of Will Balsky. Though she might look like a dashing young gentleman in your class, she is a woman from the early 19th century. Her life will be shown as a representation of the treatment of women and the beginning of women reforms. Jody's main job was to take care of the house while her husband was out working. She would sweep the floors, dust the tables, and sew clothes for the family members. But they would rarely work outside.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces.
Men in the early 19th century were allowed to vote. Women, on the other hand, were not. Another hardship that women would face is their husbands' alcohol problems. Men would spend money on alcohol rather than things their family would need. When they went home, they would often abuse their wives and family. As a result, people started to form unions to prevent alcohol problems. A major movement that began was the American Temperance Union. Another problem women would face is their lack of property ownership. When their husband died, women would have their property taken away from them and were kicked out of their own homes. Education in the early 19th century was uncommon for girls, and no women would attend universities. In 1848, the first Women's Rights Convention was held at Seneca Falls, New York, by Lucretia Mott and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. 100 out of the 300 attendants signed the Declaration of Sentiments, a document based on the Declaration of Independence arguing for the rights of women to be equal to men. A major issue debated on here was women's suffrage. Frances Wright was one of the first female lecturers in the United States. She spoke for the rights of working men, women, equality, and emancipation of slaves. She was an abolitionist who created a camp known as Neshoba, where freed slaves would be housed and cared for. Another reformer, known as Susan B. Anthony, traveled the country, gave speeches, made petitions, and organized women's rights organizations. While many women were injured during protests, the violence translated to wider support for these movements.
This is Sparta!
After Jody, along with many other women, started getting involved in these movements, changes started to take place, and women were gradually given more rights.